ShartimusPrime, reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it, taking bad hits, taking bad shit, Subscribe for
Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Hot Toys action figure review on Marvel's Captain America's Civil War movie masterpiece MMS 358 Hawkeye 1/6 scale collectible figure. I gotta give a big thanks to Comic and Figure Addicts for letting me borrow this figure to review for you guys. If you're a San Francisco Bay Area local, you can find them. Check the link in the description below to their Facebook. If you're not a San Francisco Bay Area local, you can get this at big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below. Again, very beautiful artwork with these Hot Toys Civil War figures. I really like how Hawkeye looks over there. War Machine looks like he's gonna really kick some butt. And then we get some cool Captain America versus Iron Man wrapping around. Then we get an awesome pose for Black Panther. There's Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Vision. Now on the side right there, you can see Ant-Man and Falcon. Now on the top right there, it says Hawkeye. On the very bottom, it says Captain America Civil War. We have the sleeve. You lift up right there, you can see the figure inside. Divided we fall, and then the artwork and everything resembles Captain America. We get Hawkeye right there. Now on the very back, you can see all the people responsible for creating the figure. You can't have photography direction without cocking to it. And then on the side right there, we get the SHIELD logo again. All right, let's get to it and crack this thing open. And here's Hawkeye out of the packaging, and I think this is a very good figure. Of course, I have complaints, which I'll talk about throughout the course of the review, but for the most part, I really like this. I really like the quiver and the system that they have here for the arrow shafts going into the quiver. The bow looks great. I love the articulation on this figure. I love that I can get him into this pose right here. I think he looks very cool. The practicality of an archer leaning forward like that while firing, I don't know. Maybe like while he's running or dodging and shooting, I don't know. But anyway, he does come with very cool accessories, so let's take a closer look at those, and then we'll take a closer look at Clint Barton. As always, before playing with your very expensive action figure, you do want to read through the directions, make sure you put everything where it's supposed to go properly, and make sure you use the correct hands for whichever accessory you want them using. And of course, we get what we've seen recently as a standard issue base for these Hot Toys Captain America Civil War figures, except this is a Team Cap. Comparing it to the Black Widow Team Iron Man, you can see the differences right over there. Pretty neat. They both have the same spot varnishing and whatnot. I think it looks very cool. And we get this beautiful plaque that says Hawkeye, Marvel, Captain America Civil War. So I love that we get this wide variety of accessories for Hawkeye. He actually comes with 16 different arrow shafts, as you can see right here in this image. I did not place all of them inside the quiver. There were a couple of ports in here that did give me a hard time. You can see I have the two extras right over there. But I think this whole quiver system is actually very cool. I really like how we get this whole deal where you could rotate this piece right here at the bottom. You just have to turn this thing right here, and it's kind of tricky to do, but yeah, there you go. You can see it kind of spinning a little bit, so you know, you can just imagine it spinning so that he could pick a different arrowhead, and then you could see the bottom of the arrow shafts right over there. Now, placing these through is a little bit tricky, and like I said, I didn't get all of them through the hole, but you could see a couple of empty ports right there, and I just kind of got stuck. And the way this works is just to take one of these out and put it right back in. You can see you just place it right through there, and then you need to make sure that it's going through this little slot right here. And then there's another little slot towards the bottom to secure it once more, as you can see right here. And getting it through there, especially while looking through a viewfinder, and this not being my figure, is very difficult, but there it goes. I kind of missed it a little bit, but you get the idea, right? It's supposed to just slide right through there. And yeah, so I put 14 out of the 16 on here. It doesn't look too bad. You can tell these didn't go all the way through. But I think these look really nice. I like how they all have this little touch of white paint at the very end of them. And then we get his bow looking absolutely sick. I love this little pattern right here, making it look like it's made out of carbon fiber. I think that's really well done. We get some nice little silver bits right over here. Don't know exactly what these do. And I don't know a whole lot about archery, but still, I think it looks really great. And of course, this is made out of a little elastic band, so you can pull on that. It's fairly durable. And I love that the bow has this little piece right over here where it makes it very easy to rest the arrow, so I think that's great. And then what's really cool in the movie is that Hawkeye's bow can transform into this staff, you know, which Black Panther just slices in half at ease, but still looks very nice with this little weathering effect over the black. I really like it. Very nice solid piece. Yeah, I think they did a good job with it. And then we get this little dagger right over here, this little knife sheath that he has, and then you get the actual knife right over there. So this is his boot knife. Again, some little weathering effect right there, even on the handle of this knife. And you can see some slight serration right there on the side. and this goes right in here. Then the directions instruct you to just remove the foot right there. Now you don't really see him use this knife in the movie, but he does have it on the side of his boot. So you do want to just go ahead and follow the directions and put that on the side right there. I like making sure that the strap, the little buckles are all off to the side, and then just put that right back on there. It goes on pretty easily, so there that goes. I think that looks pretty neat. At least having it there is pretty cool looking. And then he also has his sidearm right here looking really nice. You can pull this back so you can cock it, and you can remove the magazine. It's kind of stiff, like pushing it all the way in there. Like you can see there's a tiny little bit of gappage right there. I did one time push it all the way through, and then I kind of had a hard time pulling it out again, so anyway, that's what he said. And you can just push this right in there so that secures nicely. Again, nice paint detail right there. Then the figure also comes with 7 interchangeable hands. So this is a dagger holding hand right here. We get some nice stitching, nice purple paint. And then this is just a relaxed hand. Again, nice stitching and everything. And then this is for holding the bow, and he can hold either bows with this hand. And then this hand right here, this is a bow pulling hand right there. And then this is his sidearm holding hand. And then we have another bow pulling hand, which I really like more than the other one. You get all 3 fingers pulling right over there. And then this is just a relaxed hand right over here. Looking really cool. I like how they have this little glossy black on the tips right there. I love that attention to detail. And it's like that for all of the left hands. They have that little glossy bit of paint. Then the figure also comes with an extra set of wrist pegs in case you break them. I like how for one side we have a black wrist peg and the other side is the flesh colored. And he also has his shades over here, which unfortunately just right out of the packaging it looks like there's just a little bit too much glue, but I don't remember him wearing these shades at all during the movie, so I'm not really that bummed out about it. Then lastly, he has this multifarious collection of arrowheads, which look absolutely stunning. I really like these a lot, man. I mean, look at that right there, man. That is cool. All these little freaking arrowheads are so sick. You know, one thing I really loved about Civil War is that they made each character really have their moment to shine. What was really awesome is that in that airport battle scene when, you know, Team Cap and Team Iron Man are running at each other, first thing Hawkeye does is he just fucks up Vision with these little EMP arrowheads. I think these are so cool. Love these things, man. I don't know exactly what that one does right there. And then this is like another EMP arrowhead. You get this one. It looks like a collapsed grapple. And this one right over here. And then here's an extended grapple. And then we have these last two. I don't know what to call that one right there. But my favorite one is the Ant-Man. And that looks so sick. That is so cool. I mean, he's a little bigger than he looked on the arrowhead during the movie, but I don't care. I still really like this a lot. I think it looks great. Really tricky to see, but very nice paint detail for this tiny little Ant-Man. This part hit the geek spot so hard in the movie, especially because this happens in the comics. And then placing the arrowheads on here is fairly easy. They all have their own little port at the very bottom of them. Grabbing one of these little EMP ones, you know, you can see it just goes right on there. And also really cool how light shines through there, you know. I think that's pretty awesome. Now I have the Age of Ultron Hawkeye figure still, and I think this is the same exact head sculpt that we'd gotten with that figure, but with slightly different paint. The flesh tone on this figure does look a little lighter in color and in tone, but again, I think Hot Toys always does a fantastic job with their paint. I really like the 5 o'clock shadow. The eyes look great. I think it's a great sculpt. It really does look like Jeremy Renner. One thing I'm really noticing here as far as the hair goes, that they are using this shiny brown color on the hair, and I think it looks really good. The very first time I ever saw that, I think was with Thor, with the Avengers Thor figure, and they used like a gold paint for the hair, and this kind of has a similar type of shimmer to it. And comparing the hair from the Age of Ultron version, you can see this is a lot more of a matte kind of color that we're seeing. This one definitely has more of a shiny look. You can see the faces are the same. I mean, it is the same head sculpt, but yeah, this one just looks, or it's actually the Age of Ultron one was a little on the lighter side. Yeah, but I don't know. I like them both. I mean, they're very similar to each other. Then this one, he's looking off to his left a little bit. This one's looking a little bit more straight on and ahead. And then putting the sunglasses on Hawkeye is fairly easy if you choose to do that. I'm not going to do that because I didn't see him in the movie like that, but, you know, it doesn't look too bad, you know, resting on his face. It's just that, yeah, they put too much glue right over there. Now, as far as the rest of the figure goes, I feel like they went a little too bright with his clothing here. I just think that this is much brighter in color than what we'd seen seen in the film, especially during the airport scene. I was just looking at some clips of that and I was like, yeah, this is not that bright. I mean, it looks cool. It's alright. You know, I like seeing a lot of purple on Hawkeye. This looks a little bit more like blue to me though than purple. This very much looks like purple. So, you know, I don't prefer this suit over the one that he wore in Age of Ultron though. I like that one more. And one thing I don't like about this is how it kind of splays outward towards the hips. Kind of makes him look like he's got a little bit of a panza right there, and that's just not Hawkeye, man. Come on, you can't have a panza and be a superhero. Looking on the right side over here, you can see that we get some nice little brass buckles. That looks really good. I like this little strap around the wrist. Now on the left side, we get some very nice flesh tone, some veins. We even have some hair sculpted in the arms. Very tricky to see that detail right there, but yep, there's some hair sculpted in there. I guess I could have added a little bit more paint to the hair because now it's kind of like invisible colored hair, right? But I really like what they do. This little fine detail in the flesh tone looks really good. And he has this other, I don't know exactly what to call this, but this like support brace thing right here. So that looks pretty sweet. And again, you know, we've got this nice buckle. Not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on with the pants over here, but I like that they do allow for a lot of mobility. So that looks really good. And then here's the boots again. We have that strap on there, looking really good, I think. That's pretty nice. I like that we get some wear on the bottom of the boot right there with all the treads and everything. Same thing with the top of the boot. Get some really nice wear on these. So yeah, very good looking figure. Just not my favorite Hawkeye costume design, you know. I do prefer the Age of Ultron one. Really quick, just how you put the quiver onto the back of Hawkeye. You get this little slot right there on his back, and then you're supposed to strap it through here and then slide it up right there. The directions aren't incredibly specific, but it just snaps into place and then you just slide it right there. Taking this off is pretty scary, but so far I haven't had any stress markings or anything like that on the plastic. Now I can't complain much about the articulation. I like it. He does have a good head and neck joint right here that can move up that much. Not looking too bad, especially for shooting at Tony Stark. He can move his head downward that much, and then he does have side to side movement. And you can move the head right there for some nice neck and head pivot. The shoulders move outward pretty far, and they don't move down more than that. And this one moves out just a little bit farther. I feel like I can get that one just moving more so. So, I don't know. I like that because at least this is the one that's holding the bow, right? You can move the arms forward. Again, it's a little bit tricky to do. He does have double jointed elbows right there. And then he does have rotation right here and a bit of an armpit joint. So it does move forward and back a little bit. Can't forget to mention that. Then he does have wrist swivel and they hinge up and down. He has decent ab articulation. So he can't, well, it's more of the waist joint that's moving forward than the abs right over there. But he can crunch forward a little bit and move back some. You do get side to side movement over here, and he does have some waist pivot. His hip joints can move outward just that far. Then he can kick forward that far and move back only the tiniest bit. He has an upper thigh cut, double jointed knees that bend all the way in, and then you can rotate the feet side to side. He does have ankle pivot, and you can move the ankles down and up. There is actually a lot of movement in there. Those are double jointed ankles, and then you can just shift that down to cover that gappage. So yeah, great. I love that ankle pivot. Now measuring out Hawkeye, you can see that he's standing just barely over 12 inches. Then for your Hot Toys Hawkeye comparison, we have the Civil War Hawkeye compared to the Age of Ultron Hawkeye. Now I do like how this one looks a little bit more. I like that he has this burgundy-ish purple color. This one's more of a bluish purple color. I do think though this one does have better articulation. So if you thought that this was the better Hawkeye out of the two, I wouldn't blame you. I just think that this is a cooler looking Hawkeye to me. And for a quick quiver comparison, you can see that this is the more oval shaped quiver, and then this is a little bit more of a rectangular shaped quiver over here. And as far as the bows go, this one does have the burgundy color in the carbon fiber, where this one's just black all the way through. Then to compare Hawkeye to a couple of Hot Toys Team Cap figures, we have the Civil War Black Widow and then the Age of Ultron Vision. And then here's Hawkeye compared to the Civil War Captain America figure, and you can see Cap is definitely much taller than Hawkeye. And then to compare Hawkeye to a 6-inch scale figure, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Big Time No Letdown Spider-Man. Now one thing I did not mention during the articulation segment is that while the right arm has double jointed elbows, the left arm only has a single jointed elbow, as you can see right there, and has rotation. So yeah, again, I gotta say this is a very good figure. I really like this Hawkeye. The only thing I really don't like about it is that I feel like he still kind of looks like a SHIELD agent, and that's why I prefer the one from Age of Ultron where he has a skirt. It just separates him from just being a SHIELD agent. But I mean, really, that's a very nitpicky thing for how cool this figure actually is. I think it's really a very good Hawkeye figure and could be the definitive Hawkeye figure in people's collections. collection for Hot Toys. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, please hit the like button. Go ahead and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined to do so. Please stick around for the subscribe circle and hit the subscribe button if you have not already. If you want to see a photo gallery of images, it's all over at marvelousnews.com. I also have action figures for sale over at ShartimusPrime.net/store if you want to check those out. And if you want to follow me on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, links in the description below to everything I just mentioned. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Posing action figures, I'm posing action figures, I'm posing action figures every day. I'm posing action figures, I'm posing action figures, I'm posing action figures, it's okay.
That's crispy.
So I love it.